Those of us who have been around the NTG block know that cheating out big scary Eldrazi is one of the most satisfying plays you can have. The aim of this deck tech is to bring that very same joy to the Pauper format. Sure, you could Exhume Crusher in a Reanimator deck, but that strategy has fallen out of favor recently due to the new abundance of cycling creatures that your opponent can cycle early on to take advantage of the symmetrical effect of Exhume. However, with Hand of Emrakul, we guarantee we're the only ones slapping down a big boy with Annihilator. This'll take over the game fast, especially if we cheat this dude out early by sacrificing 4 Eldrazi spawn instead of paying its mana cost. We got a new payoff for Eldrazi spawn from Modern Horizons 3, introducing Writhing Chrysalis. This dude is sick, because he gives us 2 Eldrazi spawn on cast, meaning even if the Chrysalis is countered, we're still going to get half the tokens we need for Hand of Emrakul. On top of that, when we sack the spawns for Hand's alternate cost, we're going to get to load up the Chrysalis with +1 counters. This dude gets big fast and has the ever so sneaky reach, which is very relevant in a format with Kagates and Fairies. Our third payoff for making spawn tokens is Molten Gatekeeper. Also new from Modern Horizons 3, this creature is the secret sauce which pushes this deck into the realm of viable. Often, it's not enough to just turn our big Eldrazi sideways. We can get fogged out or endlessly chunked. With the Gatekeeper, we can deal direct damage, pinging our opponent to death as we play several Eldrazi spawn a turn. He even has Unearth, which means just for a single red mana, we can bring the Gatekeeper back from the grave for a single turn. Be sure to time this when you're making lots of spawn for max damage. So let's talk spawn. We got lots of new tools from Modern Horizons 3 which can make Eldrazi spawn tokens, while also helping us dig through our deck to grab our big boys like Hand or Chrysalis. First, we have Malevolent Rumble, a 2-mana sorcery that lets us dig 4 cards deep, grab a permanent, and dump the rest in the grave, all the while making us a spawn. And similar to that, we have Glimpse the Impossible. With Glimpse, we exile the top 3 cards of our deck. Until the end of turn, we can play those cards. At the end of our turn, whatever cards we don't play, we send them to the grave and make a spawn for each one. This means Glimpse can make 3 spawn tokens on turn 3. Pretty good rate. Both of these cards even synergize well with Gatekeeper because of Gatekeeper's Unearth ability. Mill some cards, grab an Eldrazi, and reanimate the Gatekeeper later for some direct damage. The deck curves out very nicely, dropping Eldrazi spawn each turn so we can consistently get out our Hand of Emrakul by turn 4. We got Nettle Sentinel, our classic 2-drop Eldrazi, the new Eldrazi Repurposer, and Kozilek's Predator, all of which make spawn tokens. My favorite of the bunch is the Repurposer, since he makes spawns upon cast and upon dying. Along with a decent stat line, this Eldrazi is chock full of value. For the rest of the deck, we get Utopia Sprawl, giving us a turn 1 play which can speed up our game plan, and the added mana fix helps support our fast mana base. And we are also playing 3 copies of Oliphant. Typically, we're using its powerful mountain cycling ability early in the game, as this deck really cannot afford to miss any land drops. But Oliphant can also speed up our win con by giving our big Eldrazi trample. This is especially nice when we got a massive Writhing Chrysalis we've been growing throughout the game. Then, we got 3 copies of Generous Ent. Again, mostly in the deck to not miss any land drops, but the food he can make later can be very useful for bringing us back into games against faster, more aggressive decks. For the mana base, we are playing only 2 copies of Highland Forest. We can get away with only having to play 2 tap lands because we can grab Highland Forest with either the Oliphant or the Ent. Besides that, we got 15 forests and only 2 mountains. Keep in mind this speedy mana base is only made consistent with the help of our cycling creatures and Utopia Sprawl, but it's necessary so we don't get steamrolled by aggro. For the sideboard, we have some pretty standard fare for today's meta. We got a single copy of Flaring Pain for Turbo Fog, 3 copies of Red Elemental Blast to help resolve our spells against blue, 2 copies of Relic of Progenitus for Dredge, Cycling Storm, and other graveyard-based decks, 2 copies of Cast into Fire and Deglamour to get rid of Bridgelands, 3 copies of Weather the Storm for aggro and burn, and lastly 2 copies of Breath Weapon to sweep away a board full of elves or goblins. There you have it, y'all, A completely new archetype introduced to the Pauper format from the year's most impactful set, Modern Horizons 3. I hope this video got your brew juices flowing. Feel free to comment below with your own suggestions, and of course, like and subscribe. I'm Newt Grundy, and smell you later, Pauper players.